Hi, I'm Vivek, the founder of SecurityTube.net. So I've put up a lot of video tutorials in the past on topics such as assembly language primer, buffer overflows, format string vulnerabilities, and a lot of other programming videos. First of all, thanks a lot for all the comments which you've left behind. That is something which always motivates me to create more videos and to keep maintaining the website. So in this introduction, along with introducing myself, I want to introduce you to a brand new Megaprimer, as you kind of know, and this is going to be on exploit research. So while teaching the Metasploit Megaprimer and the assembly language programming primers, I've always told you that very soon we are going to start something in exploit research. Also, many of you have requested me multiple times that you want videos on actually doing buffer overflows, SEH attacks, safe SEH attacks, bypassing DEP, ASLR, etc. on Windows, and how to go about this entire process. So this is exactly what we'll be looking at in this exploit research Megaprimer. Before you begin, couple of prerequisites. First thing you need to do is go through the assembly language primers, both for Linux and Windows, which I have created on SecurityTube.net. Because exploit research uses quite a bit of assembly, and we're going to derive a lot from what we've learned in these two courses. After that, the first topic we will look at is simple buffer overflows. And I've already created a buffer overflow primer on Linux, which probably spans something around 8 to 10 videos on SecurityTube. That is the next thing you need to look at. Once you've gone through these videos, probably you can just quickly kind of do a skim reading of whatever I've kind of done in those videos. Then start with exploit research. Because if you just jump into exploit research, you'll find that I'll talk about a lot of concepts which might not be clear immediately. So what are the tools of the trade? We'll use mostly free tools which are available for downloads on the internet. This includes the Immunity Debugger, the Metasploit framework, Ollie Debug, IDA Pro. There's a free version available also, little old but kind of good to go, and of course WinDBG and many other resources. So this is what we'll be kind of using. And what will we explore in this Megaprimer? Well, the whole idea is to take different platforms such as Windows XP, Vista, 7, server platforms, Linux, Mac OS, so on and so forth, and visit various exploitation techniques such as simple buffer overflows, SEH based attacks, how to go ahead and exploit in the presence of NX, DEP, ASLR, and many interesting concepts, right? So basically, this is the reason why I call it a Megaprimer. The whole idea is to cover as many different kinds of exploitation techniques, as well as how to bypass different OS protections, both at the same time. So what will be the methodology? Well, we really cannot jump into ASLR and DEP and all of that probably from the first or the second or the third episode. This is where we'll take it slow. We'll start from a very simple platform where there are no complexities, and then slowly build up those complexities and talk about how to deal with them. So we'll start with, let's say, a Windows XP platform and try the whole vanilla buffer overflow first. Then we'll kind of take it up one more notch above, and then look at what happens probably when we want to actually exploit an SEH based attack. Then we'll look at what happens when DEP is applied to the situation, and then ASLR is applied, so on and so forth. So hopefully you remember the stack layout, and if this is confusing you, then this is a good time to go back to those primers I talked about, the assembly language primer for Windows, Linux, and the buffer overflow primer. Please go through them. That's the reason I put up this little stack diagram here. If this confuses you, it's a good time to go back and revisit the fundamentals. Right, so what are we going to look at in the very next episode is basically how to exploit a buffer overflow primer, a buffer overflow vulnerability on a Windows XP SP3 machine. There is no dep, no ASLR, nothing applied currently to this scenario. Well, and if you do not know what dep and ASLR means, no worries at all. This is for people who are probably kind of waiting for some of those more advanced videos. We'll come to that, don't worry, we'll take slowly, baby steps at a time. Right, so the first example which we will take in the next episode will be to exploit a program which has a vulnerable function, and this vulnerable function uses memcopy in a very indiscriminate way to go ahead and copy user supplied input into a buffer. Now hopefully you are able to read the screen, but as you can clearly see, this code is bound to crash simply because the size of the buffer is 256 and we are forcibly copying 1024 bytes into it. This first very simple program is for illustration only, so that we can get our foot into exploit research, and after this we will slowly up the stakes as discussed. So what will we learn in the very first exploitation which we will look at in the next video? Well, we'll look at how to go ahead and exploit a simple service running on a Windows SP3 machine. So what we will end up writing is a remote exploit. This server is going to run on the Windows XP SP3 machine. We will figure out that it is vulnerable to a buffer overflow, and then we will look at different stages of how to exploit the overflow by finding things like the return address, the location of the stack, how to create your own shell code using Metasploit framework, then how to figure out how to weave in the return address, your shell code, and where the stack is all together so that you can eventually exploit this scenario. So this is all for this video. I really wanted to introduce you to the topic and to myself, and hopefully I'll probably continue making these little guest appearances off and on. If there is anything you would like that I would answer in person, please leave your comment behind. As usual, it is very much appreciated, and that really encourages me to create more videos. If you can hear background sounds in the video, I'm sorry, I can't help it. I stay in a pretty crowded neighborhood in India, so because of that I can't. And this is my little studio which I've created using my TV and my laptop. So this is not professional, but hopefully this is something you'll enjoy watching. So that's all for this introduction video. Thank you, and please keep coming to SecurityTube and watching mine and other people's videos. Thank you, have a great day ahead, bye bye.